to have perfect teeth. He has to make six figures. He has to have six packs, of abs. And I'm just like, are you serious? Hey guys, hi YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about a topic about there is no good men. There's been a lot of videos where women, I'm going to focus on women who have come on social media crying about how they can't find their partner. They can't find that person to be a husband. And pretty much that there's no good men in the world. So a lot of them have been crying, and when you look at the comments, some of the men are just like, boo-hoo, keep crying, we're tired of it, because there is good men. When the good men come around, you guys are treating them like whatever, and you are rejecting them and blah, 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 blah. So it's very interesting. First of all, I want to say there is good men, right? Maybe not many of them like that, because they're probably taken, probably married and stuff like that, but they are good men. So the first thing I want to talk about is I feel like when you get to over 30, you have to start being very realistic about this list that you have. I definitely didn't. When you're in your 20s, I was like, it was all about me. And if a guy was not meeting this and meeting that and meeting this and meeting, the list was never ending. And I was like, no, I'm not even gonna entertain that. That was about 6 years. I was 26, 27. And after that, I started really, really looking at what I really wanted. And one of the things I started realizing is that only physical wasn't it. Because every time I had tried to date somebody that physically I was attracted to, I always had issues. So I had to start looking at the patterns, right? So sometimes when people say there's not good men, it's because maybe the patterns you're caught up in is not for you. So typically, like for me, for a long time, I thought the person I was going to marry was going to be a black man from the, from the US, the UK, a black man from somewhere, an African man. And that wasn't it, because I did try to date African men and it never went to that place. And I realized over time, I just was starting to lose that excitement for dating African men. So I completely went to the opposite way. And sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to go the opposite way. You have to travel and maybe go to other countries to meet somebody, because you cannot be very stuck in it has to be a certain pool. So if it's tall, dark, and handsome, that's all you date. You might have to go to maybe not so tall and maybe not dark, okay? You have to be able to be open-minded and say, you know what? Whatever comes and it's great and he treats me well and blah, 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 I can take that. Because under 20s, okay, I understand. But when you start getting to 30s and you know what you want to get married, and you want to have family, you want the long run thing, you have to really be realistic. So that's one of the reasons when I want to say that some women are not being realistic, really. They're saying things like, oh, he has to have perfect teeth. He has to make six figures. He has to have six packs, of abs. And I'm just like, are you serious? Because at the end of the day, that six packs, let me tell you, when you've been married for a long time, you guys know there's things that matter more than the six pack. I'm telling you. Yes, you have to be attracted to the person that you're with. Very important. But let me tell you that there's things that are just so wonderful about people that have nothing to do with their looks sometimes. There's something warm about knowing that somebody got your back. Somebody's a great dad. Like I'm talking about, my husband, There's so many wonderful qualities about him that sometimes, after 8 years, I look at him, I'm like, wow, you're awesome in so many ways. You're so kind. And that makes me so happy. I love how he treats other people. And I look at that, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so great. So this list that a lot of women have that are more physical stuff, we sometimes need to get rid of it and start looking at and praying about it. I prayed about the person that I wanted. I prayed about it. I said I wanted somebody funny. I wanted somebody that was family oriented, that wanted to be a dad. I wanted somebody that believed in God, prayed, somebody that prayed. I'm not saying that they had to be religious, but they had to believe in God. That was that was non-negotiable for me. I wanted somebody that believes in a higher power. I wanted somebody that was all about me and didn't have second thoughts about it. You know what I mean? No second thoughts. Because before it was kind of like that. People had second thoughts. They had conditions for me. And that's what I prayed for. So you have to be realistic and pray for things that make sense. The money thing, I understand that men, have to be provider. They have to provide for their family, right? but it doesn't have to be six figures, because you guys are going to work together to try to figure this out. So if it might not be the richest, but you guys will figure it out. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom someday, you're like, hey, this guy has to make enough where I can do that comfortably for a little bit, and then when I do go back to work, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of where my thing was. And also, one of the first things is you have to marry somebody because you love them. This is something that I feel like sometimes people really miss out on. It's like, you want to get married because you love someone. You don't want to get married for other reasons, really, for me, other than that. Not because things are convenient, not because they're attractive, not because, oh, they are, I don't know, some other reason other than you love them. That's the first thing. So sometimes I see the videos joking about, oh, I'm married for love. And look at the stuff like they're driving this car that's making this weird noises, and all the TikTok videos that have been so funny. Be married for love. That's the core of it. You have to like this person. You really do. Because when you don't like them, you're ready to pack your bags every time they do something. That was me and my ex a couple years ago. With my husband, he makes me mad, but sometimes I just say, okay, well, let me just leave it alone. It'll get better. And, when he knows he's wrong, he apologizes. I apologize as well. So we have to really do over 30 and up. We have to have standards, but the standards cannot be so, oh, he has to have the perfect line teeth. He has to be, oh, when he walks, he has to have that swag, It's like this stuff is not really it. So there is good men. They're there. But also, are you giving a good man a chance? Because there's always this thing that comes up that good men are boring. So sometimes you have to look at yourself and say, why don't you not want calm and boring? Why do you want all the other stuff? You want this person that's super hyper, that got personality, but also busy with other people, that they can't even give you their attention. So you have to figure out the balance, right? I'm super hyper. I'm hyper, but my husband gets hyper too, depending on what is going on. He's very mellow and calm and very, but when we get together, sometimes we start being really silly and joking around and laughing about stuff that don't make sense. We have our moments where we're discussing things and we start going at it, but I love that because he's able to do that very nicely. But when he's calm and mellow, nobody knows that he even talks about anything, because he's not comfortable. When he's not comfortable with surroundings, he's not going to be loud and doing all that. We both cannot be super loud and hyper, because it would just be a mess at times, we would just, So you have to be realistic with the list. Some of this stuff, the women that are on social media talking about, I'm just like, that's not it. When somebody is not feeling good and you're in the hospital and you're the first contact, when the doctors come to you to tell you any kind of news about them, let me tell you, the six pack and all that, they don't matter. How the swag of how they walk, that does not matter. You have to find what's attractive about that person. That's way more than the physical. And so that gets you in trouble a lot. Sometimes the person that you physically are attracted, that you think are attractive, is not the one that's good for you. I had to come in terms with that. Tall, dark, and handsome was always giving me anxiety, giving me issues. I felt like I had to watch my back constantly, and that was not cool. When I went to the opposite, my husband is not super tall, and he's not dark, but me branching out to that, it helped me be at peace, to be able to sleep at night, knowing that I know my man got me. I know, you know what I mean? When he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. All those things really matter when he comes to the thick of it. When you start bringing kids into the world together, there has to be more. So I just want to say to all the women out there who are saying there's no good men, there's good men. But also, these good men are saying they're being rejected by a lot of women. Oh, well, you are not fit. Oh, you are boring. Oh, this and that. You have to ask yourself, at the end of the day, what do you really want? Because if you're chasing after this unrealistic list, you're going to be chasing it for a while. And you will never settle, and you'll never be satisfied. You're always going to be like, oh, I wish it was more of this, I'm leaving. Let me go find somebody else. So sometimes do the inner work first, and to figure out what the heck is going on with you that you don't like a guy that's mellow and boring. What is that? How come you want the guy, the bad boy? You want the guy that's crazy, that is all about everybody else, who's posting himself all over social media, or all online, being this and that. Why do you want that more than the boring and calm guy? So you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what is going on with you? Why are you so caught up in the guy making six figures? He's working, and he's hardworking and making money, taking care of things. Why does he have to be six figures? Why can't he just make good money to take care of the family enough? Or you guys help each other to do that? So that's really what I wanted to say today, that Good men are all over. Sometimes you have to travel to go to another country to find them. They're not going to be right under your nose. You might have to go outside. And you have to break certain patterns, for it to work. So, I'm talking a lot. 10 minutes. So that's all I really wanted to say, that there is good men. There was a time when I was on dating apps and I felt that way. I was like, man, it's really hard to find this good man out there. Like, are they non-existent? Because I was ready. I was like, I know what I want, blah, blah, blah. And I could never find this person. And when I completely switched my pattern, there it was, When I said, you know what? You're not 6 feet or whatever. You're 5'8", but you are so kind and you're so wonderful to me. You treat me like a queen. Okay, I can see this. I can do this, because my brain started thinking, this is long run. Who do I want to be the father of my kid? Do I want the crazy person that's all around doing whatever? Or do I want a man that I know that is all about their word? So you have to do, and that's what I started praying for. And I got that. So let's be more realistic. I'm just saying this to the women out there. Be realistic. Have standards, but the standards cannot be things like, oh, he has to have the perfect teeth. He can't have a side smile, whatever. It's like, this stuff is not really that important. You want somebody who, for me, God-fearing, as they say. You want somebody that's all about their family, that's all about you. You're the queen in their life. You're the center and the apple of their eye. They're not wondering because they don't want anything else. They want you. They're focused on you. The guy that's consistent, that's always coming through, that got your back. Those are the things that should be on your list, not the other stuff. So that's just my opinion on this. All right, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.